Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are getting practical. We're going deep into the Oklar rechargeable BP monitors.
That's right. We're looking at the WL1L wrist model and the CO2 upper arm one.
And the idea here isn't just to, rehash the manual. We want to fast-track you to getting readings you can actually trust, consistently accurate readings.
Exactly, because what the research and honestly common sense tells us is that how you use the monitor matters just as much, maybe even more, than the tech inside it. It's about technique.
That really is the core of it, isn't it? The user factor. And maybe we should start with the why. Why bother with home monitoring at all?
Well, the biggest reason is getting your true baseline, what your blood pressure is like when you're relaxed in your own environment.
Right, avoiding that white coat hypertension thing.
Precisely, that jump in pressure just because you're, in a doctor's office, it's real. Home readings, done right, give a much clearer picture for long-term health.
Okay, good baseline established. Before we get into the specifics of the Oklar devices, maybe a super quick refresher on the numbers. Systolic, diastolic. What are we looking at?
Sure. So systolic is the top number. It's a pressure in your arteries when your heart contracts when it's actually pumping blood out.
Peak pressure.
Kind of, yeah. And diastolic, the bottom number, that's the pressure when your heart rests between beats. It shows the resistance in your vessels.
Both crucial health indicators. Okay, fundamentals down. Let's talk about the Oklar monitors themselves.
Yeah.
What's the design philosophy here? They talk about simplicity, rechargeability.
Yeah, those seem to be the main pillars. They're aiming for ease of use, definitely. Things like the voice broadcast option on some models add to accessibility.
And the rechargeable aspect, that's not just for convenience, is it?
No, it's actually key for accuracy too. Using the integrated lithium battery with Type-C charging, or even the Type-C option on the CO2 ensures a stable voltage.
Oh yeah, okay. Stable power means the pump and sensors work more consistently during the measurement.
Exactly. Less fluctuation from dying batteries, which can potentially affect the reading quality. The CO2 model does give you the option of AAA batteries or Type-C, which is flexible.
Right, so flexibility there. If someone's choosing CO2 upper arm versus the WL1L wrist monitor,
Yeah.
what are the main trade-offs? The wrist one looks so much easier.
It is easier in terms of portability and just strapping it on. The CO2 is the more traditional, clinically preferred method though. It fits a wider range of arms, typically 9 to 16 inches. Doctors tend to trust upper arm readings a bit more inherently.
Because it's closer to the standard.
Partly, yes. And the measurement is taken on a larger artery.
Okay, so the CO2 is the standard. What about the WL101L then?
The WL1L is incredibly portable. It's tiny, like you said, just over 3.5 ounces. The cuff is integrated, fits smaller wrists around 5 to 8.5 inches. Great for travel, or if you find arm cuffs uncomfortable.
But there's a catch, right?
There is. Precision is everything with the wrist monitor. Because the arteries are smaller and further from the heart, you absolutely have to hold it exactly at heart level. Even a small deviation up or down can throw the reading off significantly.
So convenience comes with a demand for stricter technique.
You got it. It's a trade-off. Both models, though, use the same basic technology inside the oscillometric method.
And they both have that memory function.
Yep. Shared tech there, too. Dual users, U1 and U2. Each can store 120 readings. Plus, they automatically calculate the average of your last 3 measurements, which is really helpful for seeing the trend.
Okay, so the tech is solid. But like we said, technique is king. Let's really dive into that pre-measurement protocol, what absolutely has to happen before you hit start.
This is where most errors happen, honestly. It starts with the 30-minute rule. You need to avoid caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, and any real exercise for at least half an hour before measuring.
30 minutes clear of anything that artificially pumps up your numbers.
Got it.
Then you sit down.
And you rest. That's the 5-minute rule. Sit quietly, comfortably, for 5 whole minutes. No chatting, no checking your phone. Just be still. Let your body settle.
5 minutes of actual calm. That seems simple, but probably often skipped.
Very often. People are in a rush.
Yeah.
But skipping it means you're measuring your just sat down pressure and not your resting pressure.
Okay, 30 minutes clean, 5 minutes quiet rest. Now posture, how should you be sitting?
Upright. Back supported against a chair, feet flat on the floor. That's standard.
Seems straightforward.
But here's the kicker, the one detail that our sources really flagged. Legs uncrossed.
Uncrossed? Does it really make that much difference?
Apparently, yes. Crossing your legs can constrict blood flow slightly and tense muscles, potentially raising your systolic pressure by, get us, up to 8 points.
8 points? Just from crossing my legs, wow.
Think about it, that could easily bump you into a higher category inaccurately. So, feet flat, legs uncrossed. Simple but crucial.
Okay, that one tip alone is worth the price of admission. So, sitting perfectly still, legs uncrossed. What about the cuff itself? Placement.
Critical. Always on bare skin, never over clothing. For the CO2 arm model, the bottom edge should be about 2 fingers width above your elbow crease.
2 fingers above the bend.
Right. And for the W11-1L wrist model, it goes just below the base of your palm on the inside of your wrist. And then the most important part for the wrist.
Heart level.
Exactly. You have to consciously lift your wrist and hold it level with your heart throughout the entire measurement. Rest your elbow on a table if needed to keep it stable.
Okay, technique nailed down. Now, let's talk about what the monitor tells us, beyond the main numbers. Icons, memory, errors. What's that little heart symbol with waves mean?
That's the irregular heartbeat detector, the IHB. It flags if the monitor detected significant variations in your heart rhythm during that specific measurement.
Should I panic if I see it?
Not usually on a one-off basis. It can be triggered by moving, talking, even sometimes just a slight arrhythmia that's benign. You might see an E2 error code along with it if you moved.
E2, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So when should the IHB symbol raise concern?
If it appears consistently. If you see it pop up across multiple readings when you know you were sitting still and calm, that's a pattern worth mentioning to your doctor. It's data, not a diagnosis in itself.
Got it. Track the pattern. Before errors, let's quickly cover the memory again. U1, U2.
Simple enough. You use the SC Titan, usually, to pick user 1 or user 2 before you start. Then the MEM button lets you scroll back through the stored readings, up to 120 per person.
And it shows the average of the last 3 first.
Yes, that's the default view when you hit MEM, which is quite useful for smoothing out little blips.
Okay, now for the troubleshooting secrets. The error codes. Sometimes the manual isn't super clear. Let's decode E1 to E5. What's E2, the one you just mentioned?
E2 is probably the most common. It means movement or talking was detected. The fix, simple. Sit still, shut up, try again. It's purely about user discipline.
Right, user error. What about E1?
E1 points to an air system issue. Could be a leak. So check that the tube is firmly plugged into the monitor unit, especially on the CO2, and make sure the cuff itself is wrapped snugly and properly sealed. It's a physical check.
Okay, E1 check connections. E2 sit still. What are E3 and E5?
E3 is an overinflation error. The cuff pressure went too high, usually over about 299 mmHg. Could be a malfunction, or sometimes if the cuff is wildly misplaced.
And E5?
E5 means pulse not detected. This is often because the cuff is way too loose, or maybe your hands are very cold, constricting blood flow. Or again, the cuff isn't positioned correctly over the artery. Check the fit and position.
Knowing those codes really helps avoid frustration. Okay, final stretch. Validation and tracking. My home reading might be lower than my doctor's. Is that normal?
Yes, totally normal. Remember the white coat effect? A difference of 5, maybe 10 mmHg lower at home is perfectly acceptable and often expected. You're more relaxed.
So how do I make sure my doctor trusts my home readings? How do I validate this Oklar monitor?
Best practice. Take it with you to your next appointment. Seriously. Do a reading there with the clinic's machine, then immediately do one with your Oklar, following all the rules. Side-by-side comparison.
Okay. Calibrated against the clinic's reading in your technique.
Exactly. It builds confidence for both you and your doctor in the data you're collecting at home.
Speaking of data, let's quickly frame the numbers. What do the patterns mean? Normal? Elevated?
Right, the general guidelines. Consistently below 120 systolic and below 80 diastolic is considered normal. Elevated is 120 to 129 systolic, with diastolic still below 80.
And hypertension stage 1.
That starts if you're consistently 130 to 139 systolic or 80 to 89 diastolic. The key word is consistently. One high reading after a stressful meeting doesn't mean you have hypertension. It's about the average, the trend over time.
Which brings us to tracking. These Oklar models don't have Bluetooth, right? So how do we log this effectively?
Yeah, no app sync. So manual logging is crucial. You can use a simple notebook or an app like SmartBP, or even manually enter into Apple Health or Google Fit.
Just the numbers.
The numbers are essential, but the context is gold. Add little notes, feeling stressed, after bad sleep, had coffee just before 30-minute window, felt relaxed. That context helps you and your doctor understand the why behind the numbers.
It makes the data much richer.
Yeah.
And finally, just basic care for the device.
Super simple. Wipe it with a soft, dry cloth. no harsh cleaners. If you're storing the CO2 model for a while, take the AAA batteries out. For the rechargeable W1101L, charge it fully, then unplug it. Don't just leave it constantly tethered.
Okay, that really covers the essentials for getting the most out of these Oklar monitors. It boils down to that pre-measurement routine, nailing the heart level positioning, and knowing what those E-codes mean if something goes wrong.
Get those right, and you'll have reliable data to work with.
Absolutely. But I want to leave our listeners with a final thought, circling back to that surprising detail about crossing your legs.
The 8-point jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If something as simple as how you sit, or maybe feeling a little rushed or stressed, can instantly, measurably raise your blood pressure by several points, what does that immediate physical feedback tell you?
It makes the mind-body connection very concrete, doesn't it?
It really does. It highlights the real, tangible, cardiovascular cost of everyday stress and tension. If crossing your legs does that, what's chronic work, stress, or anxiety doing day in, day out? It's something to think about, how managing that internal state might be just as important as anything else for heart health.
A powerful takeaway. Stress isn't just in your head. Your monitor shows you the physical impact.
Exactly. Something to reflect on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.